Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to the Men Save Your Marriage show. My name is Terry. I'm your host. I did an autopsy on my failed marriage, and now I use the lessons that I learned to coach other men on how to save their marriage before it fails. I'm going to share with you the things I wish someone would have shared with me before my marriage failed. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hello, gentlemen, and welcome in. You are listening to the Men Save Your Marriage show, where there is no judgment, no fluff, just a straight shot of clarity in the middle of your chaos. We are in the Watchtower Series. This is the second episode in this series, and this is where I kind of climb the tower, scan the horizon, and sound an alarm. An alarm about the things that I'm seeing in the marriages and in the men that I am working with continually every day, what I'm seeing around me in society. And I want to share those with you to kind of, again, from the Watchtower, sound that alarm so you can begin to figure out, is this going on in my marriage? Is this happening in my life? That's where we're at. These episodes are not soft, and they're not for the passive. These are warnings. They're wake-up calls. And if you're in crisis, consider this your call to arms. Now, you heard the bell at the introduction. You know what that means. That means we are in the ring, and we are in the ring to fight for your marriage. So let us get started, shall we? So today's episode is about how her silence is a siren. And last time we talked about the drift, but if you don't correct the drift, you're going to hear the quietest, most silent siren in the world, and that is her silence. You see, when she stops talking, the danger isn't over. It's really just beginning. Most men in their marriages and relationships, they fear yelling or they fear raised voices. They don't want arguments or accusations. They just don't. It's uncomfortable. They don't want to deal with it. They're looking for peace. They're trying to find peace. And this is the one relationship where they truly need peace to exist. So they don't want those things. That makes perfect sense. But I'm going to tell you something darker, more dangerous than the fight. More dangerous than the hard conversations that we need to have, more dangerous than anything we can imagine in this most intimate of relationships. And that, gentlemen, that's the silence. And you might be thinking, well, we don't fight anymore, and that's a good thing, right? Wrong. You are absolutely wrong. If she's gone quiet, you are already in a danger zone. And if she doesn't bring things up anymore, well, that's not peace. That's preparation. She's not avoiding the fight because she's over it. She's avoiding it because she's over you. So let me ask you, when was the last time you had an argument? When was the last time that she brought up something she knew would be a struggle for you two to work through? Was it just last week? Was it yesterday? Was it this morning? Are you in good shape? Or has it been a really, really long time? How are your communications? Is she silent? Does she use words like "I'm fine" regularly? Then you need to hear this, and you need to hear it now. Your marriage isn't drifting any longer. It is headed for trouble, and you may not even see it. So let's get into this. Point number one, silence isn't peace, it's disconnection. When a woman goes silent, men often breathe a sigh of relief. Wow, finally she's not nagging. She's not complaining anymore. Maybe we're good now. That's kind of the things that some of us think. But let's be honest, we're idiots. We can be at times. Brother, you are not good. You're in more danger than ever. If she's not nagging, if she's not complaining, or you're thinking maybe we're past the worst part or we're in a good place, if she's silent, you are in more danger than ever. Because silence isn't peace. It's the sound of disconnection that's almost or nearly complete. What silence really means is this: she doesn't believe you're safe to talk to anymore. She believes you never hear her anyway. That's what silence means. Silence means that she feels like she's asked you too many times, and so now she's just given up. Silence also means that she's already moved on emotionally. She's just there with you in your life physically. And you think she's not talking because she's okay, but in her mind, she's already building plan B. And we both know who plan B does not involve. It does not involve you. She's talking to a friend or a counselor, maybe another man. She's looking at apartments. She's starting to imagine life without you in it. And you're still sitting there thinking things feel calm. Let me be clear, gentlemen. Calm doesn't mean connected. Sometimes calm means checked out. And I cannot implore you enough to grasp this. I have shared this before and I will share it again. There was a series of 6 to 8 years where for my wife and I, it felt like we were comrades in arms in a foxhole together, back to back, and I'm thinking I've got your back, you've got mine, because life was happening. It was just life. It was marriage, then within a couple of years it was, then it was a child, then the next year it was the loss of a child, and then it was big surgeries, and then it was a set of twins, and then it was other things and medical issues, and one after another, and it just felt like life was just beating us senseless. When we got through that stretch, and there started to be, for lack of a better word, some calm, and I don't know really how it was calm at that point. You would consider it that. At least we weren't being quite so beat up, but we got to a place to where now we can get on with that. The hard things, they've kind of, no, the dramatic things have settled. Now becomes the hard daily things of raising 4 children and seeing, leading them and all of that. And somewhere in all of that, we really just stopped communicating with each other. Things got quiet. There were so many conversations that were just transactional. You're getting the kids, I'm working late. We've got this, we've got that. Let's plan a vacation. Let's do this, let's do that. And there was no time for arguments between us. There was no time for us, it seemed like, and I let that slip. It was entirely my fault. And what happens if you're like me, you wake up 10, 15 years later, and suddenly you've drifted so far off course that you and her don't even know each other anymore. And I lost my marriage because it was my fault, because I didn't lead, because I was so busy with all of the other things that it was easy for me to get disconnected. It was easy for me to let that happen. And along the way, we realized we're 2 completely different people. She's checked out. I can't blame her. I don't blame her. It was entirely my fault for not leading like I needed to during those times. That's why I spend all my time sounding this alarm now, because it could have been so much easier and it could have been so much simpler. But over time, and as time passes, that disconnection grows, and you do reach a point to where there's really just no getting it back. And that's what I don't want for you. So you've heard me say this before, and I'll say it again. You can be in life, and I'm convinced of this as any human. We can be a great example, or we can be a horrible warning. And I think that we can be both at different times in different aspects of our life. When it comes to marriage, I have been, by my own actions, a horrible warning. And so what I can do is I can speak to you. Hopefully you will learn from me, and you can be a great example. So that's where we're at. So that was a lot. That was just the first point. But silence isn't peace. You need to know that. It's disconnection. Number 2, her silence is your test. And that test is this: will you lead or will you wait? You see, this is the turning point. She's quiet. You feel it. You sense the tension, the emotional gap. And you have two choices here. Number one, you can keep avoiding. You can hope this works itself out. You can keep waiting for her to break the silence. You can keep rationalizing that it's not that bad. Or number two, you can step right into the center of the fire. You can ask the uncomfortable questions. You can own your part in any dysfunction or any problems. And then you can lead the conversation that she stopped initiating. Because her silence came on the heels of asking repeatedly or saying something repeatedly, and you ignored it. So those are your two choices. You can keep avoiding or you can step into the fire. But if you don't step into the fire, then I promise you the disconnection is happening and she is done. Most men wait too long. They say nothing, they give, and this is what I was guilty of. It was just easier to carry on through the day while we're trying to raise kids. We got babies to raise, I got a job, or sometimes two jobs to do, and plus trying to be there for my children and be there for her and all of the things. I get it. I totally understand. But most men wait too long. They say nothing. They give space, thinking it's respectful. They watch their marriage die from a distance. Now, let me make this plain. If she's gone if she's gone silent, you better speak. And if she's withdrawn, you better pursue. And if she's cold, you don't complain. You move with warmth, clarity, and conviction. Because here's what she's watching. She's wondering, will he finally notice? Will he finally act? Will he finally lead? See, this is your test. And most men fail because they're afraid of rejection. But brother, she already feels rejected. At this point, she genuinely has nothing to lose. Your silence, your distance, your disconnection, it's already spoken volumes to her. And so this is your test, and now is your chance to flip that script. Not with flowers, not with groveling, but with grounded, consistent presence. That's how you do it. You step into that fire with grounded, consistent presence. And finally, point number 3. Silence can be reversed. And if you're there, I want to offer you hope. Because silence can be reversed. That disconnection that's happening or that has happened can stop and can be reversed. But it can only be reversed. Silence can only be reversed with strength. You can still turn this around. Not in a day, not with one conversation. This is going to take some time. But over time, if you're willing to lead with strength and stillness, again, and you've heard, again, you hear me say this so many times, not with perfection, but with presence. If you're willing to lead with strength and stillness and presence, that doesn't mean being loud. It doesn't mean being emotional. It means showing up with clear masculine intention and presence. That's how you can stop and reverse the silence. Now, how to respond when she's silent, and this is important for you to understand. Acknowledge the silence without fear. And I would encourage you, I would challenge you to say something along these lines. You're saying this to her. I can feel the distance between us. I've noticed it, and I want to own my part in it. That's a pretty easy sentence, but it's a hard sentence to say, and it's an even more difficult sentence to back up. So you need to be aware of that as you step into this to save your marriage. I can feel the distance between us. I've noticed it, and I want to own my part in it. You can't accuse. Do not accuse. Don't try to fix. Just observe, listen, and own your part of it. So that's the first one. Acknowledge the silence without fear. The second way is to ask one real question and listen completely, to listen fully. I did an episode early on in this show, and I talked about how you truly listen and how you show her you're listening and how you're an active listener. This isn't trying to listen to her and turning the volume down on the television. This is hitting pause. This is shutting it off. This is turning your face towards her. Sit up straight and show her that you are paying attention, how to be an active listener. You need to go back, if you're not sure, and listen to that episode so that when you ask that one real question, as I'm telling you here, and to listen fully, not only do you have to listen and understand without trying to fix it, without trying to justify it, you also have to listen fully to the point that she's convinced that you are totally engaged. So ask one real question and listen fully. And don't be afraid to ask her a question like this one. Have you felt unheard by me? Or is there something you needed from me that I've been blind to? That's not a bad question, guys. And it's not about admitting that, hey, I was blind to something. That's saying, hey, were you dropping breadcrumbs that I maybe didn't pick up on? If so, I want you to just tell me what they are. Lay it out for me and help me understand so that I can look for that and adjust for that, and we can walk through this together. And that's something that I'll be cognizant of going forward. Okay? No defense, no counterpoint, no logic. Just listen with your entire presence. So, number one, acknowledge the silence without fear. Number two, ask one real question and listen fully, completely. Number three, start doing the things you know that you've avoided. Oh, this one hits home. All the things that you've avoided. The difficult apologies, the changed routines, the daily consistency that shows her you're not just sorry, but you've shifted. All right, now a word of caution before we finish this episode. Number one, do not demand that she opens up. And do not expect her to melt just because you've finally started leading. Silence doesn't reverse with one gesture. Remember I talked about in the previous episode about that drift, being off course just a little bit. This has taken time. And what led to the silence, a long way leading up to the silence, there was this drift going on, and she's finally gotten to this point. So silence doesn't reverse with one gesture. It reverses when she feels safe again, and that's going to take time. She has to feel safe to speak to you. She has to feel safe to bring up what could be or what used to be touchy subjects. She has to feel safe to feel again. She has to feel safe to trust again. And all of that has to happen and compound on each other before she ever feels safe enough to truly love again. And you need to understand that going in. And just because you make one dramatic change, just because you change one habit, just because you engage, just because you step into that fire that you had been avoiding, and you're willing to lead with presence and change all of these things, doesn't mean that it's going to change everything in a moment. This drift took a long time. This drift took a considerable amount of time. And she's going to need time to feel safe, to speak, to trust. You rebuild that safety with every word you don't say in defense, and every action you take without being asked to. That is how you reverse the silence. But it doesn't happen in a moment. It doesn't happen in a single conversation. It doesn't happen in one gesture. It's going to take time. And she has to feel that consistent presence from you to feel safe again, and feel safe to speak, and feel safe to open up her emotions, and feel safe to feel, and to feel safe to love, and to feel safe to trust. And then you can begin to step into your future together from there. So here's the call to action today. If you think this is you, and if this has hit you, and if this has really touched a place in you, don't just listen, move. It's time to take action. And if this helps you, I'm asking you to do a favor for me. Subscribe to the podcast, rate it with 5 stars, and write a short, honest review. Every rating and every review pushes this message into the hands of another man whose wife has gone silent. You know that's how the algorithm works. When you rate it, when you review it, the algorithm says, oh, men like this one, let's push it out to other men. That's why I'm asking you to do this. Every rating pushes the message into the hands of another man, and it may be into the hands of another man whose wife has gone silent, and he doesn't know what it means yet. You do. You just listened to this episode. He doesn't. So rate and review it for the man down the street, or the guy at work, or somebody else whose wife has gone silent and he has no idea what's ahead of him. You could save someone's marriage just by leaving a review and a 5-star rating. And finally, as we finish up today, silence is not neutral. It's not harmless, and don't ever mistake it for peace. Silence is the red alert. Silence is the quiet before the fall or before the storm. It's the gap that will become a canyon if you do not move. So move. Don't wait until she leaves. Don't wait until it's urgent. Don't wait until you have the perfect plan. Lead now. Lead now with presence. Speak now. Be the man who says, I won't let silence kill what matters most, and that is my marriage. All right. You've been warned. You've been equipped. Now it's time to move. Don't wait for permission. Lead yourself. Lead her. Pursue her. Protect what's yours. The man your marriage needs is already in you. It's time to wake him up. And if you want direct, no fluff coaching to turn things around, you can text me right now. Text only, 812-648-3380. I'll give you the details and we'll set a pace and we can figure it out from there. This is Men Save Your Marriage. Share this with a brother who's in the fight too. And remember this, when she looks at you, she's not hoping for a roommate. She's looking for a man with fire in his chest and a plan in his hand. Don't go silent. Don't go soft. Don't disappear. Set your sights, stiffen your back, and lead with presence. All right, gentlemen, that's it for today. I thank you, and I look forward to seeing you here the next time on the Men Save Your Marriage show.